And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Get the app, and they will deliver right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or make it down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Tell them to pump it up and get yourself some of that Galactic goodness for 15% off. I was so mad today, Aaron. I forgot it was Tuesday. And as I was leaving practice, I was like, ooh, I'm over this way. Like, it would be a good time to get some Galactic. It's like that inherent thing in your brain that tells you want Chick-fil-A on Sundays. And you can't have it. Like that, I got myself on Galactic today.
I feel that.
But soon. I'm craving it. I need it. But we're in the middle, like we're home stretch of volleyball season. Last full week of the regular season. She returns to action tomorrow. I know everybody's excited about that. So,
well, worth mentioning before we get into talking about Talkin, Jay Williams, Cincy did mention in a tweet, 12,000 plus cans of Cincy Light were sold inside Nippert Stadium on Saturday, and it is fully restocked. Nippert is fully restocked and ready for this weekend in Oklahoma.
I can confirm there's a lot of stock. I saw it today.
I'm going to assume this is why no one can get anything anywhere, is because they have the cans at the stadium. And so, I mean, that's...
And those are 16 ounces. So, like, it's extra. Yeah, the stadium gets 16 ounces.
Well, that makes even more sense as to why you can't get the 12-ounce cans anywhere in the greater Cincinnati area at this time.
They're still around, but you gotta search.
I didn't have time on Saturday to hit 14 gas stations and different alcohol stores.
Yeah. The dogs are down here again tonight.
Yep.
As you can hear. Yep. The background noise canceller doesn't drown out the sound.
Squeaky toys.
Squeaky toys. Yeah, they're having a blast tonight. They're mad at me because I was gone all day, so they're trying to get a day's worth of playing in before it's bedtime. Anyhow, talking about Talkin
today. Satterfield opens.
Let's go.
Satterfield opened it up the way that he normally does. First, I want to ask you this because I've seen plenty of talk of it on Twitter and even the boards. And at some point, people think that losing doesn't affect him. People think that he's just like, meh, on to the next one. We're good. I don't get that vibe from him.
No, he's a competitor. He's like an accomplished quarterback. Like the guy's been around football his entire life. You don't survive.
Did you want him to cry on the sidelines? What do you want him to do here?
Well, they want you to scream and yell and act like an idiot until you scream and yell and act like an idiot, and then they're like, "Why is this guy acting like an idiot?" It drives me nuts.
I think you could tell emotionally he is distraught after losing this game. I think he knew, especially to the guys who have been in the program longer than just this season,
transfers,
that it affected them greatly to have been a part of wins over this team, and losing, especially local kids, losing this game meant a lot. And I think that I for those who are saying that he didn't care or this doesn't affect him, he's just kind of
wrong.
I did not get that vibe. Jesus. I'm gonna fight these dogs. First note I had was that it came off, I believe, one of your questions, that he was going to be watching how substitutions work going forward, how that was a point of emphasis when he talked to the Big 12 officials before the season started at one of the conferences that the coaches had to go to. Obviously, this has become a buzz topic right now, at least around Cincinnati, and I'm assuming probably around the country as other teams are taking advantage of it as well. Can't imagine it's just an enigma for Cincinnati games, but what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing for me was he kind of implied that, like, there was conversation between the Big 12 officials, like in the meetings that they've been at, that there's a cutoff point where that official is just going to walk away. Like what Miami was doing was super egregious because they would sub, and then right as their guys would be about to get off the field, they would send an extra, like a new guy, to come in and substitute, like in it's like basically a second wave of substitutions, and that shouldn't be allowed. Like you sent your subs in, Cincinnati sent their subs in. You shouldn't be able to like
you have one opportunity to sub. It shouldn't be like multiple. Like this isn't hockey where you can just continue to send guys in and off the ice. Like it should be like more like a basketball game where you get the horn, people sub in, done and done. That's it.
Well, if you're gonna risk that, the referee should walk away from the ball and allow the ball to be snapped when that first wave gets off the field.
Sure.
Like if you're gonna try that tomfoolery and run a second guy in, okay, but you're risking the chance of having 12 men on the field because you're not acting in the spirit of like the way that it changed was if the offense subs, the defense gets a chance to sub. Not if the offense subs, the defense gets to run the play clock down to 4, running waves of guys in and off, like on and off the field.
In my opinion, you should just be able to hike the ball anytime, like 15 seconds and under, done. Like,
yeah, but like Aaron, there has to be some ability for a defense to react if the offense subs. Like sure. if the offense is in 5 wide and all of a sudden they sub in 3 tight ends, the defense should be able to react to that and have a window to sub without like getting penalized. Like that's fair. Right?
I guess my question though is where it comes into play to where the offense is potentially getting penalized for while guys are coming on and off.
Then don't sub.
Delay of game.
Don't sub.
Well, I'm
if you
okay
don't
with
sub, they can't sub.
I'm okay with that too.
Or if they do sub, like then they're risking, too many guys on the field or whatever.
I don't want to get too hung up on that though. Practice on Sunday, he mentioned it was a very spirited practice, and he said that players continuously asked him what they can do to get better, and I think that's a good sign. At least that he even felt like he needed to mention that. I don't think that's a one-off that he's just saying it just to say it. I think that you probably genuinely did have players who were concerned with what can I actually do to get better in this situation.
Yeah. I think they're also aware Oklahoma's coming to town. Like, sure. The way that you played against Miami is not good enough. I'll be back.
Okay. I thought it was interesting in regards to the secondary that the coaching staff wanted to look at more techniques that they can do with the secondary. They wanted to mix things up more. Sounded like they're either trying to make up for where the secondary is showing signs of weakness, or at least being exposed by the offensive play that we've seen so far through 3 games. And you also had the defensive line that has been getting past the first wave of offensive linemen, but they're not converging on the quarterback. They're just getting back there, but then not breaking either that or they're stacking lanes. Which
remember what I talked about in the preseason. My concern with this defensive line is they've got the guys to get pushed, but they don't have that speed, that dude that just is constantly in the quarterback's face. Like they're getting upfield, which is the design of the defense, but they just don't have that, like, and I hate using names like this, but like, Myles Garrett, like guys that just have that. MyJ was this, MyJ didn't always get home, but he was always in the quarterback's face. And
a disruptor of some sort.
Yeah. Well, just a guy that like just a pass rusher. Like a guy that just is a dog when it comes to getting at the quarterback. I was worried about that in the offseason, and it's kind of, been true.
We've seen flashes of it from Greshik coming off the edge, but he
he's the most natural.
he also drops back into coverage from time to time where you wouldn't have I can't recall Myjai Sanders ever dropping back into
He did very
coverage.
rarely, but
Right.
that wasn't something that was utilized a lot in the old system, though.
More of an exotic type play if you were going to be doing something
Yeah,
like that.
well,
But
but Greshik's also a linebacker and not a defensive end in
I
terms of
understand. Yeah.
the
It's
like
a
how they're
little
used.
different position play. Sure.
Yeah.
Anything to add on the secondary mix up or
It'll be interesting to see if they do anything different and how they defend the deep ball.
yeah, when you have three receivers who went for over 100 yards, Dylan Gabriel's looking really good.
Yeah, but he was not. I mean, yes, he's looking real. They did not look great against SMU. They looked great against Tulsa. They looked shaky. Again, they were inconsistent against SMU, and then turned it on at the very end. So I'll have my eyes on that. They'll be on the road, so Oklahoma will be on the road, so that'll be interesting. But I mean, I don't know, like, really, how much can you change coverage or the way that you cover in 5 days? Like, the technique and all the things that you've drilled through spring ball and summer and then fall camp. Like, can you really just quickly like flip a switch? Like all of a sudden, okay, well we cover the deep ball different now. Like I don't know. I'll be interesting to
Well,
see what that means. Right?
okay. Yeah.
What does it mean by we're going to reevaluate some of that stuff?
That was all I really got out of Sat when I was watching. I know you asked him about what you're going to do to improve in the inside the five when you run 17 plays and
From the
have
10
one
and in.
and have one touchdown to show for it.
He was impressed
ob-
by my research.
Obviously, you're not going to give away anything of game plan
Right.
or schematically or anything like that. So I understand why you asked the question. I also understand that, and anybody listening
I said
probably
it. You're not going to
understood.
tell me like we're
You're
going
not
to
going to
do
get
this
anything out of it,
different.
right?
Yeah. But you run 17 plays inside the 10-yard line and get one touchdown. The question has to be asked at least.
I also would find it probably damn near impossible to believe that there isn't somebody on staff who actually knew that stat, because maybe he did, maybe he didn't, and maybe he just threw you a bone there in his impression, being impressed by the fact that you knew that. But I don't believe that there wasn't anybody on staff who knew
That
that
wasn't
specific
new to
stat.
him. I think it was he was surprised that I knew, is what
Fair
that
enough.
was. Not that he didn't know. I think he was a little surprised that I knew. But,
Taj Ward came up and there wasn't a ton there. I think it was 4 or 5 minutes for Taj, but he did mention that they have plenty of respect for Dylan Gabriel, and also mentioned that him and the rest of the secondary are looking forward to the challenge of going up against 300-yard receivers. I think that makes how many people are on secondary, because that's about how many people are looking forward to that matchup.
None. Zero. None. Not one.
There's nobody on outside of in the entire city. I don't know that there's anybody outside of that secondary that's looking forward to that matchup.
Right. It would have been nice if we got what we wanted and Taj did like a WWE promo. Was like, yeah, I remember the last time Dylan Gabriel was here.
He doesn't want to give anybody any.
It's not who Taj is. Taj is soft spoken, respectful. He's a great kid.
We've also seen Dion run with as much. We've seen Dion run with as much bulletin board material as he can. We don't want to give anybody any type of bulletin board material. So I don't blame him for
Dylan Gabriel. Isn't that the soft pick six guy? Wasn't that him?
Yeah.
He played here once, didn't he? I think he had a bad night. But
drop a Central
Taj.
Florida instead of a UCF.
Orlando Tech.
And then Ryan Montgomery, his first time on the podium this year, and he did mention he talked for about 6 minutes. A lot of it was just kind of coach speak, but I found it interesting that he spoke several different answers about the injuries that he's overcome throughout his career and essentially how big this Saturday is to him, and the fact that they're going into the Big 12, how he's not taking it for granted, that he's still playing, that he's still at Cincinnati, how many offers he had pulled when he messed up his knee when he was still in high school. And just, I think that he's probably damn proud of all of the work that he's put in on himself to make it to this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's, he's a guy that continuously, ever since his knee injury, which was bad, it was bad, in high school, he's been kind of overlooked. Like every year we do this. Every year we talk about all the other guys in the room, and we don't talk about Ryan Montgomery. And by the end of the year, who had a solid year, whether it be as a running back or a punt returner or whatever the case may be, Ryan Montgomery finds a way. He finds a way to be effective. He might not be a star. He might not be the splashiest guy in the room, but he gets shit done. And I like guys that get shit done.
Yeah. He also mentioned, for those who are curious, he is still practicing with the return teams as a returner. Along with he mentioned along with Braden, and didn't mention anything about Xavier Henderson.
We were talking about punt. I asked him directly about punt. Okay. Xavier's been doing kickoff.
Fair enough.
I was jabbing him a little bit because he's had a lot of success as a punt returner, and
yeah, he's also been around almost as long as Malik, so he understands your sense of humor at this point.
Right.
Last but not least, you had a coach on, and I'm terrified to pronounce his name incorrectly. Is it Fuqua? Fuqua. All right.
I thought Fuqua too.
I knew I was going to Fuqua it up, is what I'm saying.
You did. You Fuqua it up. Fuqua.
I did. I'd be happy to. I did notice that he mentioned that he was in the same coaching family tree here as his previous job, and
has ties to
And he mentioned just how much he's learned here already, not dealing with just the defensive line, but he's apparently been
he's outside linebackers.
Thank you for correcting that. We waltz on defensive line. But he's been taking quite a bit of tutelage from Kerry Combs.
Yeah. He's the dog and the star. He gets the special positions. The outside linebackers.
No, otherwise. And he also mentioned that he felt Tuesday was maybe the best Tuesday practice they've had all year.
It's a good practice today. The tempo was good. It felt like guys were focused. It had a good feel to practice today. I'll give him that.
Sat said that Sunday was a great practice, all 35 minutes of it that they had. I assume the rest was watching tape. And then today having the best Tuesday practice they've had all year. Look, you got to start stacking some really good practices, especially after coming off of a game that you just had. Hopefully Miami was a wake-up call for the things that this team needs to do to improve. And I look forward to hearing hopefully some continuously stacked practices in the next coming days before this game on Saturday.
Yep. All right. It's going to wrap it up. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!